M1161 ready to check. Roger that.
Well, folks, we're talking about the M1161 USMC Growler, okay? It is one of the latest vehicles that GovPlanet has put on the market and the government has surplused. Again, they made about 600 of these, 450 of the four-seaters, which is the 6.1 version, and about 150 of the shorter versions of Scouts. What I want to talk to you about today is this neat little engine. Again, it's a 2.8 turbo diesel engine, and it's just really, really compact. It's made by Navistar. It has every bell and whistle you can think about it, and again, it's turbocharged. And just some of the specifics of this thing. Again, these unit costs on these things originally started out at about $209,000 each vehicle. Then probably one of the reasons when General Dynamics took over the contract, which you know General Dynamics made the M1 Abrams tank and all of that sort of thing, they took over making these and finishing the contract for the Marines. But then they all of a sudden, by the time they've got the 600 units out, the Scout version was over $1 million a piece. And again, it just probably was one of those things that that, you know, government overruns and government costs. I don't know whether they were being taken advantage of or what, but you know, we'll probably never know about the procurement process of that. But let's talk about a little bit about this engine. Again, 2.8 liter inline. It's a 4-cylinder overhead valve, a 12-valve turbo diesel, and it's built by Navistar Defense. And 3,600 RPM has 230 foot-pounds of torque at about 2,000 RPM. And I'll crank it up here in just a minute and let you hear it. It's really a slick little engine here. Well, folks, listen, let's talk about the engine here, but it also has a glow plug, okay? But one of the things that I've noticed is many of you have got a Hummer. When you turn that switch on, you kind of wait until that light goes out. Well, it doesn't go out on the Growler. You just kind of count, give it a little pause, and then crank it. Again, all of these engines are extremely powerful. This thing has got really so much compact stuff built in here. Now you're probably thinking, well, no wonder they cost that much money. I don't know, but you know, they got to be reliable in combat. But again, the only thing that were Kevlar and armor resistant were the seat backs. So these things were built for speed, desert. Once they unloaded them out of the V-22 Osprey, and they were taken off and they were going across country. IEDs and those sorts of things, these things were not built to withstand roadside bombs. So I can imagine that's probably one of the thought processes of the Corps was we got to get something more. And you know, the Humvee is even being phased out by the Army, and so they built a stronger up version. And that's a whole new vehicle, a whole nother story here about what the Army is going to in order to withstand IEDs and roadside bombs for a troop carrier. So with that, but this also has, you can hear the onboard compressor. You can hear it back here. And it's pumping up the air for the 4 air shocks. Now this thing is automatic. When the tank gets full and the shocks are up, then that'll cut off. And so it's just really, it's a really compact and slick design vehicle. And growls, yeah, that's probably why it does growl. That's why they nicknamed it the Growler. Now, these add-on accessories, you can get a rear tire carrier or a front tire carrier. It goes into a receiver hitch that's on it. This happens to be the trailer hitch. You can also, they made a basket, okay? A lot of these accessories are hard to find. As you will see that anytime you want to look for parts for these, sometimes you'll find pallets of them on GovPlanet, especially the one out of Georgia down in Albany. But most of the time, if you want some parts to see, there's a gentleman, Greg Rasmussen. He is probably the Growler expert in the United States when it comes to knowing what to fix and how to fix it, where to get parts. And Greg is in San Diego, and you can go to growlerforum.com and you can communicate with Greg, and I tell you, I highly recommend you do it. Again, there's not many of these out there. A lot of folks that do have them, they've run them in the desert and that sort of thing. This one, if you see any more dirt on this one than you see on it right now, then something's wrong, because I built this one to collect. Again, it's not a trailer queen. It's not something that I'm gonna worry about getting blue ribbons, but I just wanted it back and restored and looks nice so I can display it with the rest of my military vehicles on Veterans Day, parades, whatever the case may be. That's what I use mine for, and to showcase some of these things on Military Collectors TV.